You all have been exposed today to some wonderful magic makers, whether they're movie makers, photographers, writers, but I'm kind of biased. Let's get to the real magic. When you make things up out of thin air and you speak to one another through this mysterious form of communication we call music, and it's music and it's also lyrics, it's the whole combination. So it's kind of to call these four esteemed folks here up on the panel singer-songwriters is cutting them a little bit short. They are songsters, they're music makers, and they're not just lyricists. Each one of these four people are accomplished instrumentalists who are known among their peers for their instrumental prowess. And each one of these four has achieved some kind of success, different degrees of success as a creative artist. And all I know is I know of a whole lot of people that make music that wish they could achieve this kind of level of success, whether it's, Grammys and National Heritage Awards, or whether it's owning your own universe, like Terri's done. I mean, they've run the gamut. And this is, I'm in awe to just even be among these people. So I don't want to waste too much time doing my own yak, and I want to hear you all tell me your stories about how you make music. And really, I guess the first question is, I'm going to open up with Max, and you all come on down the line with your responses, but why do you make music?
Oh, man, I guess I have that's the passion I have for music. And, when I was a little kid, I'd see my father play music, and I was attracted to it. And then later on, I got to meet Flaco Jimenez, and I was more attracted to it. And it was just, the attraction and the feeling of what they were doing on stage and so forth, and that attracted me. As I grew up, now I guess the reason is to preserve my culture and then the music that I perform, and hopefully the younger kids will carry it on as well. So that's.
Max, by the way, if you don't know, is the maestro of the Bajo Sexto, and we're going to do a little demo here before we're done today. Terri, why do you make music? Why?
I don't have a choice. I mean, sometimes I wake up and I think, I wish there was something else that I had to do, but I've just never not had a choice. I've always written, got in trouble for my writing, remained undaunted and still wrote, and I just don't have a choice. I feel like it enables me to speak when I cannot speak, and enables me to be political when I need to be. It enables me to be not political when I don't want to be. I can be funny. I can be barbed but funny. I can cut someone to the bone but put it in a major key. And so that's why I do it. And I wouldn't do anything else, not this lifetime.
And did you grow up playing music as a child?
My dad was born in Birmingham. My mom was Havana, Cuba, and American, but her dad was stationed in Cuba. And they're both avid music fans. And so as a kid, it was a hodgepodge of music. There was no genre. And so as my dad was in the military, he retired a command sergeant major in the military. He was very strict, so everything was army green and starched. But when it came to music, nothing was army green. It was a rainbow. And that's what I grew up with. We didn't know genre. So from a kid on up, I never really knew about. I was listening to Patsy Cline and listening to my mom's records from Cuba. So it was a great upbringing when it came to just celebrating diversity with culture.
Leonardo Flaco Jimenez, why do you make music?
Well, being that I come from a musical family, especially the accordion, and my granddaddy was an accordion player. He used to play on house dances and whatnot. As far as my dad, Santiago Jimenez, told me stories about my grandfather. So then he passed it on to my dad, which my dad, Santiago Jimenez Sr., started recording in 1936. And so the sound of conjunto music, bajo sexto and the accordion, with that sound of the umpa sound, like the European sound, I would say. There's a lot of accordion playing all over especially Europe, Germany, Switzerland, and whatnot. A lot of places there's accordion there. So my grandfather used to go to the dances here in New Braunfels. They had umpa dances. So he managed to go from San Antonio to New Braunfels. I think in a horse and a wagon or something. I don't know, but he managed to catch on to that sound of polkas and waltzes and that. And then he managed, my granddaddy, so he managed to get an accordion somehow and started playing polka. They finished. I mean, he like copied their style of playing, and then my dad came along and started recording more. Started recording in 1936. So from there on, my papa, he made a real good name of himself, recording on old 78 Decca records, and there's a lot of recordings that he did along the line. And then, as far as me, I was about 6 years old when I started picking up the accordion, but my dad, it's just like a story, my dad, he used to have two jobs, playing in the weekends and then working during the week. His work, just like in a rock quarry. He used to, boom with a hammer or whatever, So when he was away, I could grab that accordion, but I couldn't ask him. I don't know, just for respect, I think, or give me the accordion or lend me the accordion so I can practice. But he didn't know that I was practicing at that time. So one day he came early from work, and then he heard somebody playing in my house, but he didn't know who it was. So I was learning when he went to work, and then when he opened opened the door, and he stood there, I think, for a good while, and he was listening his polkas, which he played, and then I think he just opened the door wide open, man, and he came straight to me, and he was in tears, man. He was in tears. He hugged me, and I thought I was gonna get it, but no. Yeah, but no. I could feel his embraced me, and real proud. And then from that time on, he said, "Mijo, you can get my accordion and go ahead and play it whenever you want to." So I.
So, Flaco, you were raised in a musical family and almost encouraged, but when you decided to become a professional musician, you have other brothers and family, they didn't pursue this path. So were you encouraged, or?
Yeah, well, I've got a brother that his name is Santiago Jimenez Jr. He's got some CDs out now or whatnot, But what happened to me is that reaching my teens, I started listening to some radio stations like country stations. There was one as I recall, one station in San Antonio, darn.
K-Buck?
No, it was before your time. Okay, when
There was a station.
Yeah, just as a radio station, but it was pure country, all country. So I used to hear Hank Williams and those country stars back then, and then so then I switched to KGNB in New Braunfels, and there was a Oompa station, polka, and waltzes and whatnot, So that was my two stations that I one here, one there, And all of a sudden, the time passed, and I went to my teens, and I started listening to rock and roll, and it was before Elvis, of course, and not even Elvis was at that time. I started recording in I would say my first recording was in 1954, I think it was. On those 78 big ones, those 78 RPMs. Yeah. So then I decided to try to blend in my kind of playing, my accordion, to the country scene or even the rock and roll scene, just to see if my accordion would fit in what I heard of rock and country and all other stuff, So I managed to blend in on those one, but my first break of recording in a major label or a big name or whatnot, it was the Sir Douglas Quintet of Doug Song. Yes, he invited me once when I was young. Yeah.
We were all...
So he invited me, he called me from New York, I can recall, and they were recording, it was Dr. John, it was Augie Myers there, it was Bob Dylan, man. Excuse me, Bob. And so there I had a break, to go into the major label recordings. And after that, I had some more offers for different musics with even folk singer Peter Rowan. I toured with him. And then all of a sudden, I got a call from a guy named Ry Cooder. So then he invited me to record with him, and then we toured. And from there on, there was, some offers from here and there. And finally, man, I had just not that much of money maintained, but I could put a little beans and rice in my table, man.
Flaco, I like that you made the point. You're listening to country and rock stations to see if your accordion would fit. Yes. Did it fit? You recorded with Buck Owens, Dwight Yoakam,
yes,
Rolling Stones. I think it fit.
I think it fitted, yes.
Now, next to me, back around the time that Flaco is coming of age, on the other side of the state, down the Golden Triangle of Southeast Texas, a young woman is kind of coming into the fore, and a woman playing music, rhythm and blues music. This is unusual because rhythm and blues seems to be dominated by males, and yet you broke through in a big, big way that I like pointing out, not just with the big #1 hit, worldwide hit, You'll Lose a Good Thing, but what was it, 64, you write Oh Baby, We Got a Good Thing Going.
Yes.
And that same year, a young band from England called the Rolling Stones happens to cover it, and might have taken the wind out of your sail.
Yes,
a little
indeed.
Bit. But Barbara Lynn, why music? How did you choose this path?
Well, it's a long story, but I'm going to try to make it short as I can, ladies and gentlemen. The thing about it is, from a little girl, as I was growing up, I always wanted to be a songwriter, you know. And during the early 60s, of course, you know, we hardly had televisions, you know. But then again, I'd listen to the radio. And when I'd come back from school, and I mean, you know, I just felt like I just wanted to be a songwriter. As a matter of fact, I wrote my first album, all the songs except one, and that one was by Jimmy Reed, You Don't Have to Go.
That's a good cover song to choose.
Yeah, I know. I know that. And then from then on, you know, I continued writing until I wrote my great big hit, You Should Lose Me, You Lose a Good Thing. And that was it. And that took me on. Yeah.
So had you written many songs before you did? You
Before
wrote?
that, yes.
Well, how many?
had.
I mean, 5,
Oh
10,
my
right?
God! Second Fiddle Girl, You're Losing Me. This is the Thanks I Get. Oh boy, I can just name them. You know, yeah, I'd get in my house when I'd come back from school and just start putting words together, lyrics, you know, and putting them together and pick up my guitar and start trying to blend it in, and it worked well for me. I thank God, you know, that I had this going for me.
You could be identified if you listen to you. You'll Lose a Good Thing. Oh, what a great singer! Not everybody knows you're a great guitarist.
Yes. Well, I ain't bragging, but I like I said, I've been playing a good many years, you know.
It's not bragging if it's true, but ladies and gentlemen, the world's greatest left-handed female blues guitarist. Period.
Thank you so much. Thank all of you. Thank you, Hector. Thank you too.
So I'm curious. You know, you make music and you play. You know, you do performances. You play many songs, but let's just kind of isolate a song, because a song is really that's where the creative process leads to. And I just want to know from each one of you, and Barbara, let's start with you. When you put together a song, what comes first? Is it the words or is it the music?
A lot of my songs come from, I think, feelings too, you know, and you know, I've lived near neighbors that also gave me ideas. Had some pretty rough neighbors, you know, that would get to fighting, and so, you know, I wrote from that because, you know, like, I know this guy was doing this lady wrong, and I say, honey, you know, that's the thanks you get, you know, for letting him. So I say, well, I'm gonna write a song. This is the thanks I get, and I did.
So you're listening to what people say. You're telling stories from what you're hearing in life.
Yes. And then I told the story of I told my story of You Lose a Good Thing, which was a true song. Yeah. Very true song.
Flaco, when you do it, take on a new song, what are you hearing first? The music, or are you hearing the words?
Well, like I said, I'm hearing the words, so, you know, the lyrics. But then again, I started picking up my instrument and started putting chords together, you know, and seeing how this is going to blend with that, and it worked, you know. And so I just continue on.
So you've got the words before you start picking on the guitar.
Oh, yeah. I got the titles of the songs. I could name a lot of titles.
Flaco? Yes.
When you do a song, are you playing it first on accordion and then trying to put words to it, or do you hear words first?
Well, actually, I'm not a songwriter, or I'm not a composer as far as lyrics. I just... with my accordion, and I listen to the melody first, or whatever I create. I take a listen to it and be sure that I feel that playing or whatever. But as far as writing, I'm not a songwriter. I'm just an accordion player.
But what? Yeah, just. But what about Pantalon Blue Jean or Borracho
well,
Number One?
Okay, those were by my dad's lyrics, or he wrote. So what I did is just gave him some ideas of what I saw around life or whatnot, and then like a Pantalon Blue Jean, it means the blue jean craze. So he then he didn't write, he did not read or write. So he was just up here, So in about 2 days, he calls me and says, "Mijo, I've got the song already, and I'll sing it for you." And then I wrote it down, and then I recorded with him, So I recorded, I would say about 2 or 3 albums with my dad. Me playing the bajo and singing with him, So it was so touching for me, and something that I can't explain, the feeling of recording, singing with your dad, recording. It's something that it's real touching.
Hey Terry, what is it with you? What do you hear? Are you hearing the words first? You got a message to put out first, and then you got a melody to put behind it. You're message based, and you like, your lyrics hold a lot of power, each word.
I just try to stay out of the way. Like, that's the main thing. Is like if it's something that I'm working on instrumentally, then it's almost like I'm like, oh well, I don't have the chops for that, so I'm going to have to work on the music part. So that gets separated, and then if it's lyrics, where it's like I'll hear something someone says, or a tweet. Though I don't really like Twitter, but it's a great mind for finding mundane, insane thoughts, So, so I like to copy paste and email them to myself, and like, wow, that person. I'm really glad we're not neighbors, but that's what I like to do. I like to just kind of and then if it's lyrics, then that's in its own pile, but they're definitely separate. Unfortunately, it's never been easy where everything comes together in one nice pile. It's always a lot of work. And I wish it wasn't, but it is. But it always is.
But you like.
So Max, you balance between the two. With Los Tex-Maniacs, you are a contemporary music group, but you do your Smithsonian recordings, which are all about traditional Texas Mexican music. So what is it when you put together a song? Are you paying attention to that tradition, or it's like, you're just pulling this out of thin air?
The tradition is automatically there. Okay, the style is automatically there because that's who I am. I guess when I'm writing a song, it kind of comes to me. What a lot of people they work on the words first, whatever. Sometimes I guess I'm pretty good with hooks. I could come up with a hook, and then after that I'm stuck, and then I'll have to give it some time, and then I could start working on it again.
So you build around a hook. I mean, you figure out you can hear.
I'm kind of actually. I like to co-write with other artists too. Like I've written with Joe Ely. I've written with Alejandro Escobedo and Rick Trevino and different artists, and it seems it works a little better to co-write. But I can come up with some really crazy hooks, man. I just like the song I wrote. How can a beautiful woman be so ugly? And it doesn't mean that she's like ugly looking. It's just she was ugly to me. She was mean to me, kind of a thing. But it was stuff like that, And but as far as the traditions are going to be there when I put the music together and the melodies, the stamp is going to be there. Who I am, the bajo sexto and accordion, the traditional thing is going to be there. But even though it's a little out of the box, if it's a rock and roll tune or a country tune or whatever.
So Barbara Lynn, how do you know you've done a good song? What makes a good song compared You've written a lot of songs. Some of them seem to jump out more. What is it? What's the quality?
Well, the first few songs didn't, as you say, jump out, really. They didn't get as much airplay that I thought they should, that the songs should have gotten, But then when you get a song with a strong title, to it, that's when I think and it's telling a story, that most people may go through that. That's when I think then that it's a good song, a strong song, and the jocks still jump on it.
And that's where it paid off listening to your neighbors.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So, Flaco, what do you think makes a good song? How do you know this song's... This is a really good song. I got other songs, but this is a really good...
You never know which song gonna make it to the charts, or there's several. For instance, there's goofy songs, man, that hit the charts out there, like Augie Myers' "Hey Baby, ¿Qué pasó?" which I recorded with when I was in Texas Tornadoes with Freddie and a bunch, So you never know when you got a hit in your hands. You never know till the response itself, and of course the airplay and this and that. Not payola, man. I don't believe in payola, but still there's some payolas around. So, but not me, because I don't have any money anyway. So I got it made.
So, Terri, what about you?
Well, what is good is very subjective.
I know, so that's what I'm wondering.
You know,
is it because you get a response from the audience? Is it something you feel good about?
I'd have to say that a response from the audience. Lloyd and I have worked together since, I guess, 1997. And then 2005, we did this kids record. And I remember we were on tour, and we were traveling in the rent car for way too long. And Lloyd was like, you could. If I were you, I would. And I was like, and it was getting on my nerves. I hope it's okay to say this, Lloyd. And so I ended up writing this song called Nerves, and it was and I'd like, and it was like, you could. If I were you, I would, and then this whole thing, and it ended up just being this kid's hit, which still makes my car payment, And so I'm driving a cheaper car now, but still, it's like it's been ongoing. But that wouldn't be something that I would think like, wow, I'm really proud of it. But it was still, I think the intention and the energy of it, and then the composition of it was right. And so that's what I always think about is composition. And we never had a chance to test drive that live. It just went, we recorded it, because I'm not a kids artist. We recorded it, went to CD, and that got out there, and that just kind of went, it did wonderful things. But as far as myself, I always think about making sure that I don't compromise what I want to say, that I stay true to my intention of the song. And it remains a very hard process for me, though. It takes me a long time. When it's a difference. If I write something that I really like, it takes me a long time. And what makes me really like it is that I really crafted it. Something that I just kind of toot out, that's just, sorry, that's kind of frank, but, it just kind of happens, and it's like, wow, there it is. That's not something that I might ever want to learn and even play live. So it's weird.
So it sounds like, as a writer, I hate, I like to think, well, that first draft is gold, and I don't have to do anything else, but I know too well that the 5th or 10th draft is to get something right is what it takes. Mm-hmm. But is that with building a song? Do you have to keep going back to it and fine-tuning it? Even with Flaco, with a melody, do you tweak it, or does it stay the same when you're done? Do you write a song the first time, I'm finished with the song, and here it is, everybody, and that's it? Or do you keep playing with the song?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Talking to you.
No, I think when you're recording, in my opinion, you know, or even when we're recording, things come spontaneous. It's not planned, and it's not by, I don't read music or whatever. One day they send me a bunch of papers like this, you know, with a music sheet, you know. I said, what the hell is this, man? So I just ignored it. I told them, just send me the song or whatever, and then I'll try to do it or whatever. And so it's better to just improvise and do what you're recording spontaneous, and those ideas come just right away to what you're recording. So I think it's fun to do that. It's a challenge, but if you got good musicians and you got a good nowadays I've been recording with the Tex Maniacs. I mean, it's very easy for me because they've got that. They know my heart. They know what I do. So the whole band and this monster man, Josh Baca. Oh man, he's nephew, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays good accordion. There's a lot of accordion players, good accordion players. And as far as my recordings, sometimes I do. As far as singing, I always do just duet because they tried to put me on being a solo singer, and it didn't work, man. I don't have that punch, man. No, forget it. So I'm not cut for solo singing, you know. But as far as concentrating in spontaneous things in the middle of the song, it automatically comes, and there it is. And then they said, "Oh, what did you do?" Well, I don't know what did I do, man. It just I won't do it again, but because I phrase different every verse. I try to versatilize the accordion licks, not the same rotation thing, you know. And there's a lot of musicians that they have that rotation, and no, it's fun just to improvise.
Well, I think we might be able to twist some arms and get a little improvisation here, because these are musicians, and there are a couple instruments that have been brought on board. But before we start that, or maybe while you all prepare, we're going to do some live music here. But I wanted to know, y'all have some questions? We've got a little bit of time for Q&A here. Do you have any questions for my esteemed panelist here?
I got one for Barbara, and Joe, you can maybe repeat it, but just, she was a teenager when she started. It was extremely rare. A big deal was made of the Beatles that they wrote their own songs, or she wrote her own songs, played her own songs, was the artist. I'm just wondering, what was it like for a teenage girl in the early 60s?
Oh my God, it was exciting. Especially when the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger called you and tell you that I'd like to do one of your songs, and so I'm acting calm, you know. So I say, really? He said, yeah, this is the Rolling Stones. Nick from the Rolling Stones. I say, how are you? And he said, I'm doing well. And he said, we're interested in doing one of your songs. So I said, well, which one? So he said, the one called, Oh Baby, We Got a Good Thing Going. I said, you have all my attention. You can do it. Go ahead. Thank you. I wanted to fall to the floor, but I act calm, you know. I didn't want them to know how excited I was. Then I called my manager back and told him, thank you, Huey, thank you.
Josh Baca.
Oh, yeah. Do you think maybe possibly in the near future there could be a song with those 4 artists, maybe?
Could the 4 of you collaborate on a song?
Why not?
Would that be possible? I'm not putting you on the spot here now, but the 4 of you, could you get together and make a song?
Sure.
Yeah.
You think you could? That's a good throwdown.
Yes.
Thank you,
That'd
Josh.
be awesome.
Any other questions?
So I have a question for Barbara. So you wrote "If You Lose a Good Thing," right?
Oh.
You wrote "If You Lose a Good Thing."
Sir?
You wrote that song, "If You Lose a Good Thing."
Yes.
So I
Yes.
just played 10 years with the Texas Tornadoes, and we would Freddie Fender would sing that song at all our concerts. He loved it.
What are you saying that,
"If You Lose a Good Thing," yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Freddie Fender used to sing your song.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every
Freddie.
performance.
Freddie Fender.
Yeah.
Freddie Fender did it. Yes, indeed.
Did he do it good?
Oh, yes, he did. And the money did was too. Yeah.
So you had a lot of cover versions.
I did.
But were the cover versions, was there any version you heard that was better than the original?
You'll lose a good thing, right? That's the one you're speaking about?
Yeah. Did anyone do a better version than you did?
Well, I see. I hear that question now. Well, you know, I mean, I put my whole heart and soul into it, but then this other singer done it that really got to me, and that was Aretha Franklin. Oh. Wow, I'm telling you, when her company called me and told me that she was on our label, Barbara Lynn, which is a jazz label, which was Columbia Records, and that Aretha would like to cover this song. Oh, I told her, tell Aretha, thank you, and thank you all. And she did it very well, really, Aretha Franklin bar. And then one time, I might add this in if you don't mind. One time I was going at the Flamingo to work in Miami, but she was going out. She had just finished the weekend, and I was going in for the second weekend. And me and my mother and also my driver, we walked past this lady, and she said, "Hi, Barbara Lynn." My mother say, "Barbara, that was Aretha just spoke to you." Oh, I say, "Hi, Aretha." I backed up. I had to. Oh my God. I say, "How are you? I'm so sorry I didn't recognize her," and I didn't. I was really trying.
So did your mother look out for you when you were, did she travel with you and everything?
Yes, indeed. She even pulled a gun out for promoting.
All right, that's the way things got done in the business. So it was your mama that was packing.
Yes, indeed. She told him, "You are going to pay my daughter every bit you owe." She just got on that stage and done a full show, and you going to say, "Look, Mr. Lynn, I'm going to have to mail your money later." And he had a box, and that boy, my mother, saying, "I'll take my shoe off for you." Believe me, he found some money. He did. Oh, I can write a book about my mother. She's gone, dead and gone now, boy. Oh,
I don't want to stop, but it's Sunday and there's some kind of blue law in effect here. Let's see if we can make a song. Max, would you grab that big box out and see if you can rock it and get the squeeze box? Hey, Flaco, did you ever have trouble getting paid like that?
Did you?
You know, Barbara Lynn's mama had to go use a gun to get paid. Did that ever have to happen to you?
No.
She didn't take the gun out.
It was
she
a tough
she
one,
said,
yeah.
"I'll take my high heel shoe off and make sure you pay my daughter all her money."
I want to hear more of these celebrations.
Oh my goodness, look what we got here. Oh wow. Oh boy, look at him.
Yeah, it's kind of
On his fingers,
Like
so he
a
can
finger.
fly across the keyboard a lot easier. See? You can't talk music here without making music. So let's make a little music.
I need some DW-40 for my fingers to loosen up.